Imagine I offer you a choice. You can permanently seal yourself inside a flawless, artificial simulation that guarantees perfectly achieved dreams and endless pleasure. Or you can refuse the offer, turn around, and remain in our current, deeply unpredictable and often painful reality. Which do you choose? The American philosopher Robert Nozick presented this exact dilemma in 1974. He called it the experience machine, and he designed it as the ultimate thought experiment to test the true nature of human desire. Nozick was targeting a specific philosophical concept known as welfare hedonism. This theory argues that the presence of pleasure and the absence of pain are the sole, exclusive metrics for a successful human life. If an action increases your pleasure and limits your suffering, it is inherently good for your well-being. We see early prototypes of this mindset everywhere today. Our obsession with digital escapism, immersive virtual reality, and endless scrolling of curated feeds are real-world attempts to engineer our own personal experience machines. We are constantly trying to optimize for maximum comfort and minimum friction. Here is the paradox. If hedonism is the absolute truth, every logical person should enthusiastically plug into Nozick's machine forever. Yet when faced with the choice, most people feel a visceral horror at the idea of abandoning the real world for deceptive bliss. That intense, intuitive hesitation proves the theory of hedonism has a fatal flaw. Merely fulfilling a desire does not actually equate to well-being. Think of a person addicted to potent narcotics. Every time they take a hit, they get exactly what they want, a massive rush of dopamine. But achieving that chemical high often traps them in a cycle of absolute misery and torment. The pleasure is present, but the well-being is completely absent. Centuries before Nozick built his theoretical machine, the philosopher Thomas Aquinas diagnosed exactly why this happens. Aquinas argued that pleasure is a proper accident. In philosophical terms, that means pleasure is not the destination itself. It is merely a natural byproduct meant to follow the successful completion of a real, objective action out in the world. This diagram shows how the relationship should work. The natural purpose of an action is to hit a target. Satisfaction is the healthy downstream reward. But the experience machine deletes the target. The action is divorced from pleasure, creating a closed loop without achieving anything. By engineering all the pain, effort, and friction out of life, the machine accidentally destroys the foundational architecture required to generate authentic human meaning. Ultimately, humanity's widespread refusal to plug into the experience machine answers Nozick's test. We desire genuine contact with an unpredictable, objective reality far more than we want a perfectly curated, man-made simulacrum. And if we want to understand why we need that unpredictable reality, we have to look to the 19th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He provides the ultimate counterargument to a pain-free existence. Nietzsche championed the concept of amor fati, or the love of fate. He believes that suffering is not a glitch in the human operating system that needs to be patched. Instead, hardship is the essential raw material required for personal evolution. For Nietzsche, the highest human goal is Selbstüberwindung, or self-overcoming. You do not build muscle by avoiding the heavy weights at the gym. In the exact same way, lifting the heavy psychological weights of painful failure, of bitter heartbreak, and existential dread is the only mechanism that forces you to forge a stronger identity. The French philosopher Albert Camus reached a highly compatible conclusion with his famous essay on Sisyphus. Condemned by the gods, Sisyphus is forced to push a massive boulder up a hill for eternity, only to watch it roll back down. Yet Camus argued that the ongoing grueling struggle against the weight of the rock is exactly what fills the human heart, not standing victorious at the top. True psychological resilience requires us to abandon the pursuit of a flawless, pain-free destination. The friction of the climb is the very mechanism of happiness. You might not have a literal pod waiting for you to climb into, but you likely have your own mini experience machines running right now. Whether you numb yourself by doom scrolling, avoiding difficult conversations, or passively playing a role to meet society's expectations, you are choosing the simulation. When we do that, we end up living a Frankenstein version of someone else's safe, predictable life. To break the cycle, you have to push open the door and step out into the harsh, uncomfortable glare of your own authenticity. Profound joy depends on alignment. when your external actions reflect your internal truth, regardless of the effort required to reach that point. A life dedicated to avoiding pain is ultimately a life without meaning. Happiness is the byproduct of wrestling with the world exactly as it is.